Yeah, I sometimes still speak Southern, even though I'm an Oregonian now. So anyway, I don't really like the word y'all, but sometimes I use it as a shorthand. So anyway, we are going to be doing another um, Bible thing. And this one is, who is the servant in Isaiah 42? And this is going to be another from the Douay Rheims, sorry, from the Douay Rheims version, which is a Catholic version. And like I said, it's simply, I have a King James and I have this one. The other ones that I have, they're like cultural Bibles and archaeological study Bibles and stuff like that. Um, and interlinear Bibles. I also have interlinear Bibles. So anyway, but you know, this this one and the KJV are the only ones that I have that are like, all together. And I don't want to use the KJV because lots of people can't understand the language that KJV is written in. So I'm going to be using the Douay Rheims. All right. So there's a couple of things you have to understand before I get into this, and that is that when you're looking at the books of the Bible, the chapter and verse breakages are completely arbitrary. They're there for a reason. Sometimes they're there for reference. But in a few cases, like Isaiah 42, they are there for very specific reasons. And the reason that Isaiah 42 was broken from Isaiah 41 is because they do not want you figuring out who the servant of Isaiah 42 really is. In fact, let me read you from the Douay Rheims, the little thing, the synopsis of the chapter. Let me read you the synopsis from the Douay Rheims for Isaiah 42. The office of the Christ, the preaching of the gospel to the Gentiles, the blindness and reprobation of the Jews. So that's the little synopsis in the Douay Rheims version. And like I said, I'm going to show you Jesus is not the servant of Isaiah 42. They have done this on purpose, and they have gotten away with it for thousands of years. So, who really is the servant of Isaiah 42? Well, to answer that question, we need to go back to Isaiah 41. And we're going to read verses 8 and 9. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's the best I can do. 41, 8, and 9. It was the yellow, by the way. I always highlight when I'm going to read stuff to you, so you know where I'm getting it from. But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, in whom I have taken thee from the ends of the earth, and from the remote parts thereof have called thee, and said to thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and have not cast thee away. Now, I'm going to keep reading to the end of the chapter, and the reason I'm doing this is so you can know that I am not, it's quite a bit of reading. I want you to understand that God, you know, which I don't believe in the Christian God or the Jewish God, but, you know, for argument's sake, God has not changed who he is talking about from Isaiah 41, 8 and 9 to Isaiah 42, 1. So, going on to 41:10. Fear not, for I am with thee. Turn not aside, for I am thy God. I have strengthened thee, and helped thee, and the right hand of my just one hath upheld thee. Behold, all that fight against thee shall be confounded and ashamed. They shall be as nothing, and the men shall perish that strive against thee. Behold, all that fight against thee shall be confounded and ashamed. They shall be as nothing, and the men shall perish that strive against thee. Thou shalt seek them, and shalt not find the men that resist thee. They shall be as nothing, and as a thing consumed, the men that war against thee. For I am the Lord thy God, who takes thee by the hand, and say to thee, Fear not, I have helped thee. Fear not, thou worm of Jacob, you that are dead of Israel. I have helped thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. That was verse 14. So he says again, he's still talking about Israel in verse 14. Going on to verse 15. I have made thee a new thrashing wain, with teeth like a saw. Thou shalt thrash the mountains, and break them in pieces, and shalt make the hills as chaff. Thou shalt fan them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them. And thou shalt rejoice in the Lord, in the Holy One of Israel thou shalt be joyful. The needy and the poor seek for waters, and there are none. Their tongue hath been dry with thirst. I, the Lord, will hear them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in the high hills, and fountains in the midst of the plains. Told you this was long. I will turn the desert into pools of water, and the impassable land into streams of waters. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, and the thorn, and the myrtle, and the olive tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, the elm, and the box tree together, that they may see and know and consider and understand that the hand of the Lord hath done this, and the Holy One of Israel hath created it. Bring your cause near, saith the Lord. Bring it hither. if you have anything to allege, saith the King of Jacob. Let them come and tell us all things that are to come. Tell us the former things, what they were, and we will set our heart upon them, and shall know the latter end of them, and tell us the things that are to come. Show the things that are to come thereafter, and we shall know that ye are gods. Do ye also good and evil if you can, and let us speak and see together. Behold, you are of nothing, and your work of that which hath no being. He that hath chosen you is an abomination. I have raised up one from the north, and he shall come from the rising of the sun. He shall call upon my name, and he shall make princes to be as dirt, and the potter treading clay. Who hath declared from the beginning, that we may know, and from time of old, that we may say, Thou art just. There is none that showeth, nor that foretelleth, nor that heareth your words. The first shall say to Zion, Behold, they are here, and to Jerusalem I will give an evangelist. And I saw, and there was no one, even among them, to consult, or who, when I asked, could answer a word. Behold, they are all in the wrong, and their works are vain. Their idols are wind and vanity. Did you hear anything in what I read? And you may have to go back. That's fine. But did you hear anything in what I read that tells you that God is switching over from his servant Israel? Because he says, But thou, Israel, art my servant, in verse 8. Clear as day. Okay? Did you hear anything in what I just read that says that God has switched the servant from Israel to someone else? Now, verse 41:29 is the end of chapter 41, and it says, Behold, they are all in the wrong, and their works are vain. Their idols are wind and vanity. And then it goes to chapter 42. And this is chapter 42, verse 1. Behold my servant. Now remember, in chapter 41, he said Israel is my servant. Behold my servant, I will uphold him, my elect, my soul delighteth in him. I have given my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Again, you don't read your own book if you're a Christian. You let others do your thinking for you. And a lot of it has to do, I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. You've been programmed this way, okay? So I'm not blaming you. I'm trying to get you to think for yourselves. That's my thing that I'm trying to do here. One of the reasons that it is easy for your pastors, ministers, whatever you want, to tell you that the servant in Isaiah 42 is Jesus is because way back when somebody, I don't know who, decided that there were going to be chapter breaks and there were going to be verse breaks. And like I said, some of it has to do with making the Bible easier to read. I mean, it does make it easier to read, and it does make it easier to to reference it when you have not only a book, but you have a chapter and a verse. Makes it easier to reference it, makes it easier to read. And I understand that. However, you must understand that there is another, more sinister reason people have made the chapter breaks. And it is because they want people to misinterpret. Hi, Marianne. Oh, I'm doing okay. My dad's home. My brother took him to his pharmacy, so just talked on for a little while. So anyway, like I said, they don't want you to think for yourself. They do not want you to think for yourself. They want you to go for your programming. And when Martin Luther decided to translate the Bible into German, I don't know if he even thought about making the chapter breaks different. That's how ingrained it was. Even at that time that Martin Luther lived, even at that time it was ingrained that, you know, this is the way it's supposed to be. And it's not. Mary and I was just talking about who the servant is in Isaiah 42, and it is Israel and not Jesus. And, you know, I know you can't stay too long, but go back through and I you know, explained it all. So, anyway, I'm going to go because my dad and my brother are probably going to be back sometime soon, and, you know, I don't want to be streaming when they get here. So, you know, just basically start from scratch when you're doing these things. I don't care what you believe. You can believe in the big purple elephant up in the sky for all I care. I don't care what you believe. But at least think about what you believe and why you believe it. And if you believe something just because so-and-so said, that's not a good reason to believe something. Believe something because you believe it. That's what I try to get across on my channel. Believe something because you believe it, and not because so-and-so says. Like I said, I'm going to go. Bye, Marianne. You have a great day. Everyone else have a great day.